Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Emily Silcock, a realtor here in Spokane, Washington. And if you're considering a move to Spokane and specifically the South Hill, and you're just wondering what to expect, then this video is for you. We moved from Seattle to the South Hill in 2020, and while I absolutely do love living here, there are some things that might deter you from wanting to move here. So I'm going to share with you both the pros and the cons of living in the South Hill so that you can make the decision for yourself and your family. First, just as an overview, the South Hill is essentially the area south and slightly east of downtown Spokane, and it's made up of a number of different individual residential neighborhoods, such as the South Perry District, Manitou, Cannon Hill, Rockwood, Comstock, and Cliff Cannon. The heart of the South Hill is one of the older areas of Spokane, given its proximity to downtown, so it's not uncommon to find homes here from the early 1900s and to see neat historical pieces like old railroad tracks or railcar tracks and remnants of the old cobblestone streets, especially in the Cliff Cannon neighborhood. The South Hill is largely made up of single-family homes that vary in size from tiny bungalows to huge stately mansions. All right, now let's hop into our pros and cons. We're gonna start with the pros. First up, one of the biggest draws of the South Hill is its charming, mature neighborhoods. Imagine tree-lined streets, established landscaping, and then homes with tons of character. Most of the neighborhoods here have sidewalks, and they're really beautiful for walking around. You'll also find towering ponderosa pine trees here that have been here for hundreds of years. If you love houses with character, the South Hill definitely has plenty. It's honestly pretty hard to find cookie-cutter homes here unless you go farther south, kind of towards 57th, to some of the newer developed areas. You'll typically find craftsmen's, mid-centuries, Tudors, colonials, and brick bungalows. The homes here are eclectic and they're often quirky, but that is what gives them the character and charm. Next, there's literally no traffic in the South Hill. It doesn't matter what time of day or where you're going, you're unlikely to see more than a few cars backed up at a stoplight. It has been such a nice change from trying to navigate Seattle neighborhoods, especially around rush hours. Along the same lines, the convenience factor in the South Hill is huge. Not only is there little to no traffic, but everything you need is pretty much right here on the hill. Grocery stores, restaurants, coffee shops, parks, daycares, schools, drugstores, hair salons, nail salons, the list goes on. You could run 6 different errands and be back home within an hour. It's just so easy. Plus, you can usually park right outside of where you're going. There's no parking garages or having to find street parking, which has been amazing when toting little kids around, I promise. Downtown Spokane and the freeway are also very close if you need something else that's not on the South Hill, but I promise living in the South Hill will make you kind of lazy and you're gonna think twice about leaving the South Hill for anything. Another perk of living in the South Hill is that the area is packed with outdoor recreation options. We live in the lower South Hill and we have 6 parks within 5 minutes of us, and they are beautiful, uncrowded parks with great play areas and splash pads, and they're really easy to park at. You'll also find great hiking and biking trails at the High Drive Bluff, which is on the southwest side of the South Hill. And then there's also some great public pools in the South Hill. Next, if you enjoy being able to walk to things from your house, you'll love South Hill's walkable areas, which are filled with local restaurants and coffee shops and independent businesses, such as the South Perry District. That's one of the most walkable neighborhoods of the South Hill. And then there are a couple other pockets where you can walk to a coffee shop and a park, and also often a restaurant. So this is definitely a draw for people who are moving here who enjoyed this aspect in cities like Seattle and Portland. And finally, for families, there are a lot of great daycares and highly rated schools in the South Hill, which just makes it an ideal spot to raise kids. These daycares and schools are also super close and convenient. We, for example, have a 3-minute drive to get our daughter to daycare, which is pretty darn amazing. And then we'll be able to walk her to her elementary school when that time comes. So just another thing that will make life easier here in the South Hill. All right, so now that I've sold you on the South Hill, let's talk about some of the things that might annoy you about living here, because it's not all puppies and rainbows, but it is pretty close. So one thing to consider is that many of the homes on the South Hill are older, as I mentioned. While they're full of character and charm, they might not have all of the modern amenities that you're looking for, like a garage, an ensuite bathroom, an open floor plan, a pantry, lots of storage space, or even just a driveway. So you might have to compromise on a few things. These older homes also typically require more maintenance, and they're subject to more older home problems, such as when you go to remodel and you just find yourself spending more money to fix different things. than you were anticipating. Another thing to know is that homes are often closer together in the South Hill, especially in the heart of the South Hill, which might feel a little bit cramped if you're used to having more space. There are some larger homes and properties here, especially in Rockwood and Cannon Hill, but you're going to pay a big price tag for them, like $1.5 million or more. You'll also find that homes are more expensive in the South Hill. For the last 3 months, the median home price in Spokane County as a whole was $422,000, whereas it was just under $500,000 in the South Hill. You're also likely going to pay more money for less house in the South Hill than you would in other parts of Spokane, and you're just going to get fewer amenities, as I mentioned previously. Along the lines of home shopping, the giant trees in the South Hill, while very beautiful, can also be a challenge and something you might want to look out for when you are looking for a home here. They can create some very dark homes by essentially blocking out the natural light, which can be really tough in the darker winter months. They also create kind of a headache as far as lawn cleanup goes, and then they can be kind of scary when we have some of these big windstorms in the winter and you're just looking out your window watching these massive ponderosa pines swaying back and forth over your house. Next, as much as we love our winters here, driving can be a bit sketchy. So the South Hill is aptly named and can have some pretty serious hills, which can be tough to navigate, especially as the snow gets packed down and then it freezes over and it's super icy. The city does do a good job of clearing the main roads quickly, but the side streets can take a couple of days to get cleared, and so you are going to need to get comfortable driving in the snow, and you'll quickly figure out the least hilly routes for getting down off of the South Hill. And finally, along the same vein, the road conditions aren't always the best here. Because of the freeze-thaw cycle here and the roads just getting plowed regularly and repeatedly, in the winter, many of the roads in the South Hill have huge potholes. Like, it honestly feels like you're off-roading sometimes here, which is comical because you're driving through these beautiful neighborhoods and just getting rocked in your car. So there you have it, the pros and the cons of living in the South Hill of Spokane. It's a neighborhood with a lot of charm and character, but it's not without its quirks. And so if you're thinking about making the move, just weigh these factors to see what matters most to you and what you can deal with to see if it is the right fit for you. If you have any more questions about the South Hill or Spokane in general, feel free to reach out. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on life in Spokane and the South Hill. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.